I was probably, I think 19, 20, when my girlfriend told me that she was pregnant and that she wanted to have an abortion, and I didn't have any say in it. It was her choice, and all I was to do was to drive her down to where we were going and foot the bill. So that's what I did. It didn't matter if I wanted to keep the child or not. So while we're sitting down there and she's having her abortion, I'm sitting outside the room, and you know, it's all getting done, and the nurses come out and they said, well, that was a blue baby and it was a boy. When that nurse came out and said that it was a blue baby and it was a boy, they just walked out like it was no big deal. You know, okay, yeah, baby's dead. Let me just go on about my job tonight. And they didn't even look over at me. It was like I didn't exist. What they had just done was not any big deal. The office was kind of in a dark alley, you know, kind of like what you'd see in the 50s and 60s, you know, in a movie. Going back there and you're doing something that's illegal. And actually, I guess during that time frame, it wasn't legal everywhere. But that kind of ripped my heart out. They let me know without ever saying a word to me, without ever looking at me, anything. They let me know that I had done something wrong. I was ashamed of my name now. I was a lost little puppy at that time. But that's one of the things that and them walking out are two of the things that I just completely remember about that night. It was an empty, lonely, brutal time that just pretty much killed my insides, turned me into a cold-hearted individual at that time. Later on, when I ended up getting married, that marriage was rough from day one. I don't think, well, I know now I shouldn't have got married because everything was just so messed up. I was too busy being drunk. I was too busy doing drugs. I was also in the Marine Corps at that time. I put that poor young lady through all kinds of grief. I stayed in, I retired. Years after I retired, I finally got myself back into church. My little bride that I have now got me to go back to church. And I had told the education pastor at the time, I said, look, I don't know what Sunday school class to go to, so you pick one and I'll go there. We'll figure it out from there. So I go into a class and Jack and Sheila Harper are running it. And I'm in there for a little bit. And Sheila talks one day about SaveOne. Already been sitting there looking at my kids and some of my grandkids, thinking that I got a kid missing. I got grandkids missing. Something's not right here. After she talked about it that next Sunday, or that same Sunday, sitting there in church, and it was just like I got hit in the chest with a bowling ball or something. I mean, I just sat down. And the next Sunday I went and talked to Sheila and I says, look, can I go through SaveOne? said, I will not go if it means that some lady is not going to get to go through it. And she said, no, you can go ahead and go. I said, all right. So going through it, I got my little girly flower book, the ladies' book. I'm using that with everything that you have to do. It was really ripping me apart, showing me a lot of things that I had done. One of the best things for me was saying a prayer and asking to forgive the other individual involved in the abortion. And that was a huge relief. It actually allowed me to start wishing happiness on that person. But I mean, going through the class, I was on a race team at the time. I drove the rig. I would drive all night from a race or a test, get the rig parked. Sometimes I would change clothes in a parking lot on the way to the class. It seemed to make it more important to me. I mean, I'd be at the racetrack filling out my book. Some of the guys would ask me, you know, what in the world are you doing? And it's like, I'm doing some homework. So that was interesting. The lecture, the class, whatever you want to call it, helped me to get out of a very dark spot in my life. A spot that was, I'm not going to say I was contemplating suicide, but I was on a very self-destructive lifestyle. I didn't care if I drove all night. I would drive all night, drink all day. It was just a bad, destructive type lifestyle. The class helped me to get through that. I think I have a different attitude about abortion than a lot of people. Some people say it's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice. And that's something that you have to live with forever. Yeah. It was hard to think of telling my daughters that I had done that. And my wife took care of that for me. She let them know. And they were okay. But still, I mean, even this Christmas, I'm looking around and it hit me that there's kids missing. And this is years after I went through. I think Sheila told me I was the second guy to go through. I still have my little flowery book. I read through it every now and then, and I cannot believe how far I've come from that, how much healing has happened. My name is Mike Goins, and I'm a truth teller.